Now, Liverpool, after 40 minutes, was 0-0 against Wolves. Ekitike had hit the post and not much else had gone right for Liverpool. Then they scored 2 in 2 minutes. Then it's easy street. How on earth do they end up not so much holding on, but only beating the team who haven't won a game this season and only have drawn 2 and lost the rest in Wolves? How have they only won by 2-1 in this game? What happened here?
Yeah, look, I mean, Liverpool are still not convincing, right? I mean, this is going to be a process. What is this now? 7, 8 games, I think, undefeated. I mean, obviously it's much better than it was. You look at the table, you see top 4, which is something that that Liverpool deserves, and I think they're going to be there, right? But this is a rebuilding year, and I'm not saying that now, knowing what's happened, right? After such a great start to Liverpool, after all the changes and so much money spent on quality, I still think that quality players. You probably thought that Liverpool was going to challenge for the title. Now we've known for a while that that's not going to be the case. Now it's case about recovery, which they have started to do in the last 7, 8 games, of course, in terms of results. But you could see in games like Wolves that it's not nowhere near the finished product. So there are some pluses, of course. Ekitike is one of them. Not just scoring goals, but today involved in one of the goals. Tremendous setup. Really, I think I was on Wirtz. Wirtz, of course, a massive bonus, especially today with a goal, but still defensively questionable. And I just think that the engine room is not what it needs to be, right? Engine room, talking about Gravenberch, McAllister. I know Gravenberch scored, but in terms of what they did in the past on both sides of the ball, that energy, that power that is still missing, because those players are not creative players, right? When you think of Gravenberch or McAllister, Curtis Jones a little bit more, but still not there. Szoboszlai, who they've missed today, he's been their best player by far, but that engine room is not there just yet. So I think we're going to see games like these, but they continue to win, and as we speak, 4th in the table.
Look, there should be no difference between talking about Arsenal and getting the win, even although it's narrow, than Liverpool. Okay, they played the team at the bottom of the table. You want to put a few goals on the board, but Arsenal needed a late winner, very late winner, to beat Wolves 2-1 as well. There's certain games that you just want to get over the line, get 3 points and get up the road. But there's games like today that Liverpool fans would have gone there thinking, right, this is our chance to put a few on the board against the worst team in the league. So is your glass half empty or half full tonight if you're a Liverpool fan?
Look, I think this is one of those where you look at the positives rather than negatives, because they outweigh that, right? And the positive being Wirtz scoring. He's been very, very good for a long time. He just needed the numbers, right? Because everybody's hung up when it comes to a player like him and the amount of money you spend for these players. The first and foremost, right? It's so easy to go, no goals, no assists in the Premier League, right? And this is a player that, of course, I expect him to score goals, but I expect him to assist. And he's been tremendous today. In fact, I think Liverpool's got to build a game around Florian Wirtz, right? He's that creative. Play him more central. Today he was out wide. He's going to drift in, but I like him almost better when he starts centrally and drifts out wide. So he's been very, very good aside from the numbers, right? And he's been very good for a long time. We just don't choose to see it, especially when you have this sort of run that Liverpool has had before the current one. So that's the positive. And Frimpong, you and I talked about it, right? Conor Bradley today with a great sliding tackle to prevent Wolves from equalizing. But Conor Bradley will never be the type of player that Liverpool needs to win the big titles, the Premier League or the Champions League. He can be coming off the bench, but he cannot be starting player. Frimpong, you saw that today, right? And he's just coming back as well. Ability to take on one-on-one, get to the byline. Great assist once again. I mean, almost every time he gets the ball, engages the defender, and most of the time beats his defender as well. So he was positive as well. 2 Bayer Leverkusen players. A lot has been expected of them. They haven't delivered fully, but they're on the way. Ekitike continues to get better. In the face of Alexander Isak being out for a long time, a lot more pressure on him as well. Szoboszlai's been good. They wanted without him today. Still issues, as I mentioned, defensively and in the engine room.
Let's go a little bit more in depth on Florian Wirtz, because that was his first Premier League goal for Liverpool. 23 games he's played in all competitions. Hasn't scored yet. Nice bit of work from Ekitike. It's his first goal since he scored for Leverkusen at Freiburg in a 2-2 draw back in May. But this was a player that didn't just score lots, but a lot of the time he scored more than once in a game for Leverkusen. Do you think, as this season wears on, we'll look back at that day near the end of December 2025 and say, okay, it took a long time for Florian Wirtz to finally hit the ground running, but that was the day everything kind of kick-started from there? Will this be the norm rather than the exception going forward, do you think?
I absolutely do. I think he's an excellent, excellent player. You've heard me before, even last week, and whenever we talk. I have never given up on him. I've seen him. I've seen it. I've seen the talent. He needs to adjust to the quick Premier League, to the physicality of it, because you can see it with him sometimes. He's going to get smarter. He's not. I think he's going to get more physical. But the idea here is not for him to be physical. It's just to learn to think a little bit quicker, to get away from this physical game. And he can certainly do that, right? Today, again, he was the playmaker. He's the playmaker on that team. Remember that? You know, I think it was his pass to Ekitike when he hit the post, didn't he? I mean, he sees the game better than most players in the Premier League as well. So I think in time, when everything around him is settled, when Arne Slot finally figures out this team, because he hasn't, right? He's got so many different pieces to this puzzle. You know, Mo Salah is one of them. He's not here as well, but that affects everything. What happens with him now or later, and all of that. Where the leadership is going to shift, right? Is it going to sit with Salah if he comes back and plays and stays, or is it going to be shifted as well? But I think one thing's for sure, that with this sort of talent, and it's an immense talent for Florian Wirtz, that's going to come good. You just got to create the environment for him to be at his best. And I think that's going to happen. So, again, not surprised with this. We're going to see more of that, and he's going to get better with time.
Let's fast forward a month. Mohamed Salah comes back from AFCON representing Egypt. From what we're led to believe, he'll continue as a Liverpool player. It was Chiesa that got the start there. Obviously, if Salah's available, he would start. Gakpo's had a knock. He came off the bench. He comes in from that left-hand side. Isak's out for a while, so it's pretty much Ekitike as your lead. Where are you fitting Gakpo and Wirtz in there and McAllister in there? You've also got Gravenberch that plays in there. You've got Szoboszlai in there. How are you fitting everybody in there, and what formation are you using?
Gakpo's going to have to fight for his spot, for sure. I mean, he hasn't been at his best lately. He started okay, right? But lately, he hasn't been good. He's been playing all the time. Everybody's been questioning that. He's going to fight with Wirtz, because I think Wirtz is going to continue to play there. At times, with rotation and injuries, you're going to see Wirtz central as well. But that's the fight, right? Szoboszlai's playing. Frimpong's going to play right back, and Mo Salah's going to play on the right-hand side. If he doesn't play well, then just like today, you see Frimpong moving up. You know, Salah's going to be an issue, because that issue is going to have to be resolved. We're not going to know everything about it, but it may be, or it will be, affecting the way Liverpool plays. Because I still think, part of me thinks that everything that's happened was the beginning of the end. It really was, because Salah's not going to change. He's always going to expect to start. And it's very difficult for any manager to deal with a player, right? Because Arne Slot's got to be thinking to himself, okay, so what happens next time that I want to take Salah or not start him? What's going to be his reaction, right? It may be different, more quiet, but I think it's going to be the same. You can't manage a team when you know that the player is going to react in such way. And that's going to continue to happen with Mo Salah. That's why I think that there's got to be a solution to this. That solution will most likely come in the summer. I don't see anything coming here unless something crazy happens with an offer. We all know from where, right? Where Salah kind of sees it himself and is going to say, well, I don't want to deal with that either. I'm going to go either to Saudi Arabia or maybe Major League Soccer, because Major League Soccer would probably salivate to take him as well for a number of different reasons as well. Other than that, who else? I mean, everything picks itself, right? Szobo, McAllister, and Gravenberch is your probably preferred midfield if everybody is at their best. and Hakpo has got a fight on his hands.
Liverpool right now are 8 points behind Manchester City and 10 points behind Arsenal. One more game until we're at the halfway point of the Premier League. Liverpool, when they won the league last year, lost 4 times. They've already lost 6. Is the title gone for them?
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be impossible. I think Liverpool may play a massive role in terms of what happens there, right? Just as Villa, as we see it, I think they're going to Arsenal in a couple games, right? Don't have it in front of me, but I know it's Arsenal against Liverpool soon enough as well. So, yeah. I mean, crazier things have happened because we're almost in January, right? I mean, Villa. Unai Emery's doing an incredible job. You and I are getting ready to watch them play Chelsea as well, right? So crazier things have happened, but you'd have to think that Liverpool has to be perfect until the end of the season. And based on what I've seen even today, but in all these games, even though Liverpool's gotten better, it's not convincing, as I said when I started this. So I don't see how Liverpool could even get in that fight for Premier League title.
Well, they've got the top 2 in January, then February, as you mentioned, Arsenal coming up, but it's at the Emirates on the 8th of January, and then Liverpool taking on Manchester City on the 8th of February. So they will have a say, but if they are to have a say in the title race, they're probably going to have to win both of those. As Janusz mentioned, Chelsea coming up against Aston Villa. We will be back with a full-time reaction on the whistle for that one. Just to recap the other 3 results, Kevin Schade with a hat-trick for Brentford as they pummeled Bournemouth by 4-1. A massive win. Raul Jimenez for Fulham scoring late. West Ham, bottom 3, unable to do anything and get closer to Forest, who lost earlier to Manchester City. Burnley had a right chance near the end, but hit the post and it went along the line and out, so they didn't get the win over Everton, who had their chances as well. So Arsenal win and Liverpool win. They were both 2-0 up. They won by 2-1. The bottom line for both, they get all 3 points. See you after Chelsea Villa right here. Bye for now.